Eric Clapton, one of the most celebrated guitarists in history, has always been known for his mastery of the instrument and his influence on the music world. But when it comes to Jimi Hendrix, Clapton's true feelings have been shrouded in mystery for decades. These two guitar legends, both at the peak of their careers during the 1960s, shared not only the stage but a complex and often misunderstood relationship. Clapton, once considered the fastest guitar player in the world, found himself face to face with a musical force unlike any he had ever encountered, Jimi Hendrix. Hendrix's explosive performances and revolutionary guitar techniques left everyone, including Clapton, in awe. Despite their public camaraderie, Clapton has rarely opened up about how he truly felt about Hendrix. Was there rivalry? Was there admiration? Or was there something deeper? For years, fans have wondered if Clapton ever felt overshadowed by Hendrix's unmatched talent. Now, for the first time, Clapton reveals what it was really like to be in the shadow of one of the greatest musicians to ever pick up a guitar. This is the truth behind their friendship, rivalry, and mutual respect, directly from the man who witnessed it all firsthand. The first time Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix crossed paths was in London, in 1966. At the time, Clapton had already made a name for himself with the Yardbirds and his band, Cream. He was widely regarded as one of the greatest guitarists of his generation. But when Hendrix arrived on the scene, things started to change. Clapton was about to meet a guitarist who was about to redefine what it meant to play the guitar. Clapton's initial reaction to Hendrix was a mixture of amazement and, if we're honest, a bit of shock. The first time Clapton saw Hendrix perform, it was like a wake-up call. Hendrix played with an intensity and raw power that Clapton had never seen before. He was innovative, using feedback, distortion, and incredible techniques that completely transformed the guitar into a new instrument. Clapton, who had always prided himself on his technical skill and control, couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and perhaps a little intimidation. But Clapton wasn't one to shy away from a challenge. Instead of feeling threatened, he found himself deeply fascinated by Hendrix's unique style. It wasn't just about the speed or the technicality, it was about the emotion that Hendrix poured into every note. Clapton, though at the top of his game, realized there was so much more to discover about playing guitar, and Hendrix was opening a whole new world for him. In the years that followed, Clapton would reflect on that moment, acknowledging the significant impact it had on him, both as a musician and a person. Hendrix didn't just challenge Clapton's skills, he made Clapton rethink what was possible with a guitar. Their initial meeting marked the start of a complicated yet respectful relationship between the two guitarists. Clapton recognized that Hendrix was more than just a rival, he was an artist who pushed the boundaries of music in ways that no one had before. As the years passed, the relationship between Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix grew more complex, marked by both rivalry and mutual respect. The two guitarists were often compared by the media, with fans debating who was truly the better player. Clapton, known for his smooth and controlled playing, was admired for his technical skill, but Hendrix, with his wild experimental approach, had a way of electrifying an audience that left everyone in awe. It was clear both were masters in their own right, but their styles were worlds apart. Despite the constant comparisons, Clapton never viewed Hendrix as just a rival. In fact, Clapton often spoke of Hendrix's groundbreaking guitar techniques with a mix of admiration and humility. He recognized Hendrix as a force that was reshaping the way music was played. But how did Clapton truly feel about the way Hendrix's rise to fame seemed to eclipse his own? Did he see him as a threat to his place as the leading guitarist of the era? Clapton's feelings were more nuanced than mere rivalry. In interviews, he often described the sense of awe he felt when he watched Hendrix perform. He spoke of Hendrix's fearless approach to music, his ability to completely break the rules, and how that pushed Clapton to evolve. Clapton knew that Hendrix wasn't just playing guitar, he was reinventing it. However, it wasn't all admiration. Clapton has admitted to feeling a sense of insecurity at times, watching how effortlessly Hendrix captivated audiences. But instead of letting those feelings of doubt fester, Clapton channeled them into his own music. he pushed himself to grow as a musician, experimenting with new techniques and sounds, all while still maintaining his distinct style. In the end, Clapton's relationship with Hendrix wasn't about one-upmanship, it was about inspiration. Clapton saw Hendrix not as a competitor to beat, but as an artist who was raising the bar for everyone. Over time, as their careers continued to evolve, Clapton and Hendrix's bond grew stronger. While they were often seen as musical rivals, they also shared a deep, genuine friendship. Both men, despite their fame, were humble in their own ways, and their connection went far beyond competition. In fact, their relationship was rooted in a shared passion for music and a mutual respect for each other's talents. Offstage, Clapton and Hendrix would often hang out together, exchanging ideas and discussing their craft. Clapton, who was known for his more reserved nature, found in Hendrix someone who was as obsessed with pushing musical boundaries as he was. For Hendrix, Clapton represented a steady, seasoned influence in the often chaotic world of rock and roll. The two would talk for hours about music, technique, and their shared love for innovation. In these quiet personal moments, the rivalry faded, and what remained was a deep sense of respect for each other's artistry. Clapton has spoken in interviews about how Hendrix never tried to overshadow him. Instead, Hendrix was always open and generous with his knowledge, and Clapton was equally supportive of Hendrix's groundbreaking techniques. They were in many ways a perfect contrast. Clapton's clean blues-inspired sound paired with Hendrix's wild experimental style. Yet, it was this very contrast that made their bond so special. They were two men who understood the importance of both discipline and chaos in music. Clapton would later reflect on how their friendship changed his approach to music. Hendrix, with his fearless experimentation, taught Clapton to be less concerned about perfection and more focused on expressing raw emotion through his playing. This influence from Hendrix would shape some of Clapton's later work, pushing him to take risks he might not have otherwise taken. Their time together, though short, left an indelible mark on Clapton's musical journey, and in return, Clapton became one of the few musicians who truly understood and appreciated the depth of Hendrix's genius. Jimi Hendrix's tragic death in 1970 shocked the world, leaving a hole in the music community that would never truly be filled. For Clapton, losing Hendrix wasn't just the loss of a musical peer, it was the loss of a close friend, someone who had influenced him profoundly, both personally and professionally. The news of Hendrix's passing hit Clapton hard, and he has often spoken about how it left him feeling a deep sense of loss and grief. Clapton's reaction to Hendrix's death was one of profound sadness. In interviews, he admitted that it was difficult to imagine the music world without Hendrix, someone who had become a symbol of creativity, fearlessness, and innovation. Their friendship had given Clapton a rare insight into Hendrix's mind, and losing that connection was more than just losing a fellow musician. It was the loss of someone who had become a mentor in many ways, someone who pushed Clapton to think differently about his own music. In the years following Hendrix's death, Clapton often found himself reflecting on their time together. He would look back on the moments they shared, their long conversations, and the music they created both separately and together. Clapton admitted that Hendrix had a profound influence on how he approached the guitar and songwriting. While Clapton had always been known for his mastery of the blues, Hendrix's influence made him experiment with more unconventional techniques and sounds. Hendrix's wild, untamed style encouraged Clapton to take risks in his own playing, and it was through this exploration that Clapton's music began to evolve. Though Clapton never directly replaced Hendrix in the public eye, he continued to carry the torch of innovation that Hendrix had lit. He paid tribute to his fallen friend in numerous ways, including through his music. In his later albums, Clapton incorporated more experimental guitar work that reflected Hendrix's bold spirit. Clapton's admiration for Hendrix never faded, and he continued to honor Hendrix's legacy in every note he played. It was clear that in Clapton's eyes, Hendrix wasn't just a musical genius, he was a brother in arms, someone whose impact would continue to shape Clapton's music for the rest of his career. As the years passed, Clapton would occasionally speak about Hendrix in interviews, offering deeper reflections on their friendship and musical relationship. In more recent years, Clapton has shared his most heartfelt and personal thoughts on the late guitarist, revealing just how significant Hendrix was to him. Clapton's perspective on Hendrix has evolved from the admiration of a peer to a profound reverence for a musician who changed the landscape of rock music forever. Clapton has spoken openly about how Hendrix's creativity and fearlessness left a lasting impact on him. While Clapton had always been known for his technical proficiency and deep-rooted blues influences, Hendrix introduced a level of musical innovation that Clapton had never encountered before. Clapton now admits that Hendrix's approach to guitar was revolutionary. He was constantly experimenting with new sounds and techniques, breaking the rules in ways that others hadn't even considered. For Clapton, Hendrix became a symbol of artistic freedom, pushing the boundaries of what guitarists could achieve. In his more recent interviews, Clapton has also reflected on how their friendship shaped his own musical path. He remembers Hendrix as a mentor of sorts, someone who was always eager to share his knowledge, yet never in a competitive way. Clapton has said that Hendrix's unpretentious nature allowed him to view their relationship not as a rivalry but as a shared journey of musical discovery. The bond between them, while marked by the public comparisons of their guitar styles, was far more about the mutual respect they had for each other's artistry. Clapton also recently revealed that despite their close friendship, he never fully understood the depth of Hendrix's genius until after his passing. He recognized that Hendrix had a unique, almost mystical way of connecting with his instrument, and his influence continues to shape Clapton's own approach to playing. For Clapton, Hendrix was more than just an extraordinary guitarist, he was a force that changed the entire direction of rock music, a revolutionary artist whose work is still felt to this day. Now decades after Hendrix's death, Clapton has come to fully appreciate the magnitude of what he experienced during their brief but powerful friendship. The admiration and respect that Clapton has for Hendrix are clear in every performance and every interview. Clapton continues to honor Hendrix's legacy not only by keeping the spirit of innovation alive in his own music, but also by ensuring that Hendrix's genius never fades from the public consciousness.